Well, welcome to part two of my commentary video on the French Revolution. Where I left off by saying that the left is basically incapable of its own self-reflection. You know, the revolution is what matters. No matter how many corpses it leaves in its wake, it's the revolution that matters. And for the self-righteous SOBs of the French Revolution, their methods ultimately became their principles. Uh, as Robespierre put it, quote unquote, the government of the revolution is the despotism of liberty against tyranny. Or whereas in his case, tyranny was the government of the revolution. Desmoulins is quoted as saying, quote unquote, liberty is a bitch who likes to be bedded on a mattress of cadavers. Now that's a pleasant thought for you. Danton is quoted as saying, let us be terrible so that the people will not have to be. Which really in the case was the people were just as terrible as the rulers of the revolution. And Madame Roland maintained that there must be blood to cement the revolution. Yes, and a sea of blood it was. Now, just a little side note here. All the people that I just quoted, in the end, they ended up under the blade of the guillotine itself, also known as the National Razor, sometimes as it was called. To paraphrase the famous quote, the revolution, like Saturn, will end by devouring its own children. And that is exactly what the French Revolution did. I recently found an article from a Canadian ancestry research site. It's called ancestry.ca, and this was back in July 8th of 2009. And it went on to say, in time for Bastille Day, Ancestry.ca, Canada's leading family history website, today released a unique online collection of more than 13,000 names of individuals who were executed in connection with the French Revolution between 1792 and 1796. Now that number, by the way, is significantly higher. Actually goes up to more than I know more than 55,000 who met their gruesome end at the hands of the French Revolution. And also they left out the years from the start. I would personally start at July 14th because that's when the first casualty of the revolution, the Marquis de Launay, who was the governor of the Bastille. I'll get to that later. Included in the French deaths by guillotine from 1792 to 1796 indexes are all the major characters of the Reign of Terror, including King Louis XVI, Marie Antoinette, and the Terror himself, Maximilien Robespierre. They serve as a grim but historical significant reminder of the far-reaching political and social effects that the French Revolution had on the world at the time. Individual records include information such as the date of death, occupation, and other interesting facts, including Nicolas, and I'm going to go through a few names. Nicolas Jacques Pelletier was a French highwayman who had the dubious honor of being the first person executed by means of the guillotine on April 25th, 1792. The oldest recorded are two 92-year-old women, Anne-Marie Louis Parisot and Marianne Josephine Douay. By the way, my French is terrible, so my pronunciation is not so good. The youngest victim, A.F. Saint-Marie, was just 14 years old. There's just now that was the youngest executed. If you want to count, if you're not counting the Louis the 17th, who was the son of Louis the 16th, also known as the Dauphin. There's just one person recorded as being sentenced or executed on the anniversary of Bastille Day. Henriette Faury, a nun met her fate in Serignan on the 14th of July, 1794. Yes, they executed. The French Revolution had conducted a war on Christianity as well, specifically on the Catholics in the country. Uh, Another number here: 247 people were sentenced or executed in France on Christmas Day, 1793. In Paris, 163 people were sentenced or executed in one day alone on July 27th, 1794. And goes on, Marie Antoinette was convicted of treason and executed by guillotine on October 16th, 1793, 9 months after her husband, King Louis XVI, the only king of France ever to be executed. And that small, like I said, that small list does not even begin to scratch the surface of the carnage that the French Revolution brought. King Louis XVI might have been a weak king, but in no year of that king's reign did they kill as many people as they did in 1 week of the terror. The same goes true for the Soviet Union, the People's Republic of China, North Korea. I'm even going to go out on a limb here and even say the Shah of Iran. You know, the amount of arrests and executions under the Shah dwarfed that of the Islamic Republic of Iran under the Ayatollah Khomeini. If you want to know how brutal and sadistic these so-called revolutionaries were, I would again click the link to my friend's video on the French Revolution. He actually does a couple of readings from the chapters there, and let me tell you this: these, just as a warning to you, these descriptions are extremely graphic. He covers the September massacres, especially the September massacres, as well as the days of the terror. It is not for the faint of heart, I can assure you that. But it just goes to show you how sadistic these people were. And I'm not going to stay on. I'm not going to read much to you. I'm probably going to read maybe some excerpts from a chapter during the Bastille Day, during the storming of the Bastille, excuse me. And I'm going to save that for my next video. This is probably going to take either maybe 3 or 4 parts. So bear with me. Talk to you soon.